Hi everyone, welcome to Physics University. I'm Austin, and today I wanted to talk to you about exam-specific tips that you can use to hopefully score better on your exams and do better in your classes overall. Let's get started. So the first one that we suggest for students is to have some sort of timekeeping device that's allowed with you and check regularly, okay? Most people aren't allowed to have phones on them in university classroom exams. Now that everything's virtual, you've got your computer possibly or your phone there that you can use. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. But have some sort of timepiece. A watch is great. Time management is one of the most common issues when taking exams. You're going through the exam, all of a sudden you've got 10 minutes left and you've still got 3 problems to do. You need to be able to pace yourself through each problem and know how much time you have roughly per problem. And if you notice yourself taking too long on a problem because you got stuck, you need to move on to a different one, okay? Time management is crucial. So have some sort of timekeeping device with you, check it constantly, and make sure that you're on a decent pace to get through as much of the exam as you can, getting as many points from the exam as you can, and don't get stuck. If you get stuck, move on, okay? I can't stress that enough. If you get stuck, move on to a different problem, try again, come back later, okay? All right. Before you start the exam, do a power pose. Okay, stand up, stretch, get some blood flowing. You need as much oxygen to your brain as possible and as much confidence as possible. Power posing for 15 seconds can give you that extra boost in your confidence that you need, and it can really just help you be confident, get some of those nerves out and whatnot before taking the exam. I'm not kidding about this. When I'm proctoring, I have everyone who's willing at least stand up, do a power pose for 15 seconds, tell yourself you can do this, tell yourself that you've been studying, you know the content, you think like a physicist, you can do sense-making techniques. All of these things get your nerves out of the way and allow you to be the best test taker that you can be at that time, okay? I strongly urge you to do something at least to get the nerves out, okay? All right, once you actually get the exam, skim it before starting a problem, okay? Estimate how long you're going to need for each problem. Look for the easy questions and the point totals for each question if it tells you. Go for the easy questions first, okay? Not only are they easy points, hopefully, but they also help boost your confidence and get you into a rhythm that you might not have if you start with the hard problems, okay? If you can manage your time with your timepiece that we mentioned earlier, and you know how much time you need for each question, it's easy to start with the easy questions, get those easy points, and keep chugging along in a timely manner, okay? That's the easiest way to have time control and the easiest way to not run out of time at the end, okay? Once you get those easy questions out of the way and you get to the harder questions, hopefully by now you've got a little bit more confidence in your abilities. You can realize that you actually do know the material and you can start working on those difficult problems. If you get into those difficult problems and you're struggling, switch to another problem and try that one and keep flipping back and forth when you get stuck. Don't stay stuck for too long and just waste time, okay? All right, now, if you're running into difficulties with time control or just stuck on a problem, have something written down for every single question, okay? If you run out of time, tell the grader what you would have done to solve the problem. Discuss your thought process. Put down a random number with sig figs and units. A lot of professors have points for that on their rubric. Write down relevant equations. Put something down that gives you the opportunity for points, whereas if you keep that question blank, you are guaranteed a 0 for that question, okay? Many times if you say, hey, I would have drawn a free body diagram, I would have solved for the forces, and then plugged an equation, and then, hey, I got this force equals 0.00 newtons, okay? You might get half a point for writing the right sig figs and units. You might get half a point or 2 for writing F equals ma. You might get a point or 2 for saying, hey, I'm going to go through this process that we've discussed in class, right? You might get points here or there for discussing what you would have done, whereas if you keep it blank, you're guaranteed a 0 and you have no chance at all, okay? Write something down for every single question. Don't leave anything blank, okay? Every question needs to have something written down. Now, as you're doing that, please write as neatly as possible. Do not scribble, okay? Make grading as easy as possible on the grader, okay? If they have to sit and stare at your work for too long, they're going to be more strict with you, giving benefit of the doubt points is what we call them, okay? There are lots of times where there's points here, they're built into the rubric where the grader can give you a point or two if they think that you were on the right track but made a slight mistake in your thought process or in your equations you were using or whatnot, okay? So the grader has some leniency in how many points they give you based on giving you the benefit of the doubt, okay? If they have to sit and stare at your work for longer than normal because it's hard to read, they're going to be more strict when they give you those benefit of the doubt points, okay? So write as neatly as possible, okay? Make sure that they can easily follow your algebra, make sure that they can easily, clearly see your thought process on the page, and make sure that it's just neat, okay? And then the last one, going with that sort of, is if you start the problem one way, and you're like, hey, I don't think this is the right way to solve it, and redo it a different way, don't actually erase that first way, okay? Simply draw an X through that work while keeping it legible. This is where those grading benefit of the doubt points can come into play, okay? If you solve that problem a different way and you actually had it right the first time, if that grader sees that you had that work right the first time but crossed it out, they might slide you a point or two here or there because you did some things right, you crossed it out and went the wrong way afterwards, okay? You still need to make sure the grader knows which is the correct work for you though. So like you still need to cross it out. Don't solve the problem two ways and have two versions of the same problem side by side, solving it two different ways. Don't do that. Cross one of them out, know which one is your correct way that you chose to solve it. You might get a point here or there though to for the work you did cross out, okay? Overall, you need to make grading for the grader as easy as possible. They're more likely to give you some free points here or there. Make sure that you have time control, time management, practice time management. One way you can practice it is solve a couple practice problems on your own at home and time yourself, right? Maybe it takes you a couple hours to do the homework problems because they're difficult homework problems. Sure, take an extra problem that you would possibly see on an exam, solve it and time yourself. If you know that it takes you roughly 15 minutes to do a problem, then you have a better estimate when it gets to the exam on how long each problem is going to take you and where you need to speed up on other parts of the test to make up for that time, okay? That's a great way, great technique to try and practice your time control, okay? Those are the biggest tips we have. Let me know in the comments if there's other things you'd like us to talk about. As always, we've been Physics University. Thanks for watching.